What is going on? Thank you once again for tuning in to Your Lake Fork Guide. A little different episode again today. The last couple Sundays we've done some episodes involving my wife's battle through cancer and how she dealt with the treatments. Today we're actually going to turn back the clock a little. This is almost a year old at this point, the end of last year, beginning of this year. Today's video is going to be me talking to you guys about how I was feeling and really the fear and the uncertainty. At this point, we weren't sure what the end game was going to be for the cancer situation with my wife. We didn't know it. Honestly, we didn't know if she was going to live. We had no idea what was going to happen at this point. It was a very scary time in our lives, but I was able to find some comfort and strength in the most important thing that there ever has been in my life, that being the Bible and Jesus Christ. And so the reason that I filmed this when I did, I wanted to get it raw, I wanted to get it real, I wanted all the true emotions of it to come out and just be documented for, in case there's somebody out there, one person sees this that's going through some very difficult times in their life. If they can find some comfort and peace through the good book in the same way that I did, that's the reason for this video, if it helps one person. So it doesn't matter how many views it gets. I don't care if it gets 5 or 5 million. It's just about something that I felt obligated to do because I was so blessed with a lot of comfort and strength and peace at this time, with something I discovered through the good book that helped me through one of the most difficult things in my life. And so if I can get that out there and it helps somebody else and brings them the same type of comfort and peace, that's what it's all about. So different type of episode. It's going to be emotional. It certainly was for me as I recorded it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And once again, we appreciate you watching, and here we go with my reaction and how I dealt with my wife's diagnosis of cancer. They're all gonna be this big? Here you go, buddy. He's a jumper, isn't he? Woo! He's strong. So, today's episode is going to be about dealing with cancer and how we can find strength and reassurance and comfort in the Bible. Let you guys know what's going on. My 37-year-old wife has cancer. She got diagnosed with breast cancer here just a little while back. They thought they were going to be able to get rid of all of it through surgery. Turns out that was not the case. They sampled some lymph nodes, found positive test for cancer in the lymph nodes. So now we're in the stage of waiting to go through the full body scans. That actually happens here day after tomorrow. And then we're going forward with chemo and radiation. We don't know what else they're going to find. It is hello, telephone. It is a scary, scary time in my house. And it's just, this is what you'll get in this episode because it's hard to put words on it. It really is. You don't expect this. We're in our mid-30s. We have 2 kids that are 4 and 6. And it hits like a ton of bricks because, as a man, I know you're the same way. Our number one goal, our number one task in life is to provide, protect, and make their lives as fun and easy and fulfilling as possible. And man, I'm gonna tell you, I got no answer. I don't know the answer for this. And when we first found out, I called and told Dennis, this is a dear friend of mine, and I said, I literally cursed God on the phone to him. I was so mad, and I didn't understand why, and I still don't understand why. Like, there is no why. There's no answer to why. But as we move forward through this, we're at the most scary and frightening time right now, and don't get me wrong, I'm scared to death, and my world would be
not the same without her, that's for sure. But at this moment in time, we've reached a little bit of peace and a little bit of comfort through a fellow Christian that I saw on Netflix. I happened upon a series called Death to Self. It's by Stephen Furtick. Elevation Church. East Coast, Elevation Church, Stephen Furtick. You don't know me. I doubt you'll see this. If you do, sir, thank you very much. I appreciate your brotherhood in Christ. I had a lot of work to do in my garage. I was working on some stuff, and I just let this play on Netflix on my TV in the background. And the last episode of this related directly to me. It's called Naming Rights. And we're going to talk to you a little bit about that today. A lot of what we're going to talk to you about here today is going to come directly from Stephen Furtick. So I want to give him all the credit first and foremost. I'm going to link any kind of link I can find for Stephen Furtick in the description below. This man is super talented. Yeah. I didn't know anything about him until this series. You already knew about him. Yeah. He is incredible. If you're looking for somebody as a faith leader and maybe you're far away, maybe you're overseas doing some work or something and you can't find anything around you, check out Stephen Furtick. He's going to have some online stuff. I know he is. I'm going to link it below. Make sure you guys check him out. We're talking about naming rights. We're talking about the story of Jacob. And you know, some of the background, you know, everybody, you know, Jacob and Esau were brothers, and they, you know, were always at each other and fighting, and Jacob kind of stole the birthright from Esau in an underhanded way. We don't want to get too much into that because we'll get, you know, way off on a tangent, and that's not what this particular episode's about, but Jacob was a sorry son of a gun.
Oh yeah, Jacob was bad.
He was an underhanded character, and he stole a lot of things from his brother, and he had to run away because of it. So Jacob, to make the long story short, to get to the point where we're going to talk to you about today, Jacob worked 14 years for the right to marry a woman named Rachel. He was tricked. The first 7 years he was tricked and ended up marrying her sister, who apparently
homely.
If you want to I don't know how you want to translate it, but she was not a hottie with a body.
She was homely.
The Bible actually talks about Rachel's beautiful body, and they don't say anything about Leah. Leah was her sister.
Had weak eyes.
Weak eyes. That was the best thing they said about her. She had weak eyes. When the best thing they say about you is not a compliment, that's not good. Anyway, Jacob worked 14 years to marry Rachel. In the Bible, it's the only thing that it says that Jacob ever loved. It never says Jacob loved God. It only says... You trust me on that one?
No, I do. I'm running through it in my head.
So it actually never says in the Bible that Jacob loves God. The only thing that it ever says in the Bible that Jacob truly loved was Rachel. And there was a whole childbirth thing, and Leah was having more kids, and then the servants got involved, and they were having servants having... I mean, it was days of our lives. Rachel finally is in childbirth, and I'm going to let you take it from here, because you know this a lot better than I do, so... Right. Fill us in here on kind of what happened and what happened with the naming rights and all this stuff.
Okay, so Rachel herself only ever had 2 kids. Right. Her first is Joseph, the guy with the coat of many colors, and we've all heard the stories about him. And he gets sold off into slavery eventually. But his little brother, the last of the sons, was Benjamin. And Benjamin, we see in the Bible, you know, later that he's really cherished by Jacob because he is the last thing he had from his wife that he loved so much. Especially once his brother's in slavery and he thinks he's been eaten by an animal, and he says, "This is all I have left of Rachel." So he really clings to it. So we see this bond; it just continues throughout. That it's really something that's really strong with him. But during her giving of birth, she's dying. And she knows she's dying. And where do we see that? It's in
35, yeah. 18, I think it was. The verse 35. For today will be Genesis chapter 35. Is it 18?
Yeah, it's 18. And so, you know, it starts kind of in 16. When, but so as she was having a great difficulty in childbirth, the midwife said to her, "Don't be afraid, for you are having another son." As she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named him Ben-Noni, my grief, you know, son of from my grief.
Ben means son,
Yeah.
And it was like Ben Oni.
Ben-Oni. Yeah.
And then the last part means my sorrow, my grief.
Sorrow, grief. So it's this out of my pain, out of my grief, out of my sorrow.
Son of my sorrow, son of my pain.
Yeah. So, and then, but his father named him Benjamin, and and Benjamin is just the opposite. It's the son of the blessing, the son of the right hand.
Yeah. The translation, the literal translation is son of the right hand, which, so in this culture, the father ultimately has naming rights.
Yes.
And that starts back, and this is I learned this from Furtick, Stephen Furtick, but that started with Adam, because God came to Adam and said, here's all these things that are brought into your world. You name them. It is your job to name them. So it was the male, the lead male, the head male, the father of the family, patriarch figure of the family. Thank you, sir. I was looking for that. It's his job to name things.
Right.
So he has the ultimate naming rights. So Rachel comes out and says, I want to name him son of my sorrow. This is my last breath, my dying wish. Jacob, the one thing he loved, you'd think he'd do whatever she wanted in her dying moment. And what does Jacob do? Jacob says, no, man, this is the son of my right hand. Which means this is my blessing. This man's losing the one thing that he loves more than anything in the world. Yeah. More than God, according to the way it's laid out in the Bible.
The way it's laid out, yeah.
And he wants to name it a blessing when he's losing her. See, God gives you these naming rights. He gives you the authority to call whatever you're going through, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. We can, I've got cancer in my family. My wife has the cancer. We can sit here and say, man, that's the most horrible thing. What could possibly be worse? This is cancer. And it is. And it's terrible. And it's horrible. And as long as we continue to say that this is the most awful thing, it's going to stay the most awful thing. But we have a choice. We have a decision. We have an opportunity that is granted to us through God. And that opportunity is that we can name it. We can call it what we want to call it. Okay? So we can take this cancer and we can say, this is an opportunity for strength. This is an opportunity to grow our faith. This is an opportunity for us to get closer to God and to learn something about ourselves and to get tougher and stronger and better, be better parents and better leaders in our community, be better friends to our friends, to realize this is an opportunity for us to learn who our friends are. And I'm going to tell you something, we have learned something. We have learned something about the town that we live in. We have learned something about the people that surround us in our life, and we are so blessed in so many ways by so many people. There's one name that we can't change, because that book, and you may know where it says that I'm not good at quoting the verses, but there's one name that we can't change, because God said there's one name that's above all others.
The one name which we must be saved.
There's one name above all others, and that's Jesus Christ. See, no matter what you're going through, and I'm going through a lot, my family's going through a lot, but there's a name that's greater than cancer in my life. And I'm his son, and he's my father. And no matter what happens in this situation, there's something greater than what's going on in my life. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to digest. It's a lot for me to get out there. It came across a little bit more enthusiastic and passionate than I wanted to. This is a lot more sermony and preachy than I wanted this whole thing to be. But you know what? You're always going to get 100% honest, true, raw on this channel. And I felt like this was a good opportunity for us to reach out to y'all and say, hey, look here. This is what we're going through. I don't know what you're going through. It might be worse. You might have something even worse than this going on for all I know. I have no idea. I know this. God loves you. If there's anybody out there that maybe you don't know what side of the fence you're on, he loves you too.
Well, you know, when you're running into things like this, and we instinctively ask ourselves, God, why did you do this?
So that's exactly where I was.
You were, and now just an advice to everybody that's out there. If somebody calls you and they ask that question, why is God doing this? If you just want to give that cop out, well, God does everything for a reason, or particularly this one, say, well, you know, the Bible says God won't put more on you than you can handle. You need to shut up. First off,
He keeps it real. That's why I love it.
The Bible does not say that God won't put more on you than you can handle. Paul actually wrote that we were tested far beyond our ability to endure. We were crushed by the burdens of what God put on us in the epistles. But here's what I do know. God won't put more on you than He can handle. And He's not doing anything to you. God does not have this perverse joy in crushing you and beating you down. And when we start asking that, God, why are you doing this to me? You're making it about us. And here's the thing that you have to understand. When somebody's hurting and they ask those questions, it's okay to hurt. And it's okay to ask those questions. You know, I serve a God who's so big that He decided to come to the earth and go to the cross for my sins. He didn't look down and say, well, you know, if you'll just get right and you'll straighten up, then maybe I'll want something to do with you. He wanted to do with me even though I messed up and I'm not worth being with. And so He came, and my God's big enough to handle the fact that sometimes I don't understand what He's doing. And He understands that we're hurting and we're going to say things that we don't mean. But we do have to kind of work through that. But in that time when they're hurting, just don't go to the cliches. Just listen. Be there for your friends, and they're going to work this out. But when you get the chance, and instead of asking God, why are you doing this to me? God, what are you trying to show me through this? That God's not trying to beat you down, but God is trying to take you somewhere. That everything we go through in the end is about trying to get to a point where God wants us. Now, I don't know what that point is. I don't know where that point is right now for Billy and his family.
I have no idea how this will be used for the good, but I know because the book says that God will use this for the good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. We, instead of asking, why are you doing this? We just, okay, what are you trying to teach me? What out of this, what do I need to learn? What do I need to see? How do I use this to become more like Christ? And that's tough. That's tough. And so, you know, when you get that guy that's, following Jesus is just easy, they're an idiot, or they're lying to you. Following Jesus is one of the hardest things I've ever done.
It's a never-ending chase of an unreachable goal.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the goal is to be as much like Christ as you can, and we can never be like Christ. We can never be as perfect as He was. But if you're a Christian, then you have to understand that it's a day-to-day, day in, day out, everyday grind to be the best you can, to be as much like Him as you can, and you will never, ever, ever win.
Yeah, you won't get there, but are you taking steps in that direction? And that's how you mark.
And when you do that, the rest of your life gets greatly affected. The life around you gets greatly affected. You live that life for Christ, and I promise you that life is a wonderful life. It is. It's a wonderful life. Man, that's incredible. It's incredible how comfortable I am. I promised you guys a week ago, y'all would have seen me crying like a baby over this. And it's only through right here that I'm able to come here and talk to you about it today. And like I said, whatever you're going through, whatever it is, I'm not doing this to say that my problem is bigger than yours or worse than yours or, oh, look at me, poor pitiful me. That's not what I'm at. I'm not after pity in any way. What I'm here to do is to share with you that you have the right to turn whatever your situation is. You can call it whatever you want. You can make out of it whatever you want. And the man who wrote this book, our God, has the power to help you change whatever's going on in your life and turn it for the good. He's going to take whatever's bad, turn it for the good. He said He would do that. It's a promise He made. I've never known Him to break a promise. I've never known Him to break a promise. So, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, there's a lot more sermony and preaching than I wanted it to be.
If you're watching this, Pastor Stephen, I love you. Oh, he's awesome.
Oh, Stephen
Furtick? Oh, absolutely. He's great.
Yes. Stephen Furtick, if you happen to see this video, I know that I just quoted you about 800 times. I really appreciate it, because just know that all the way down here in Deep East, Texas, your Netflix series truly affected somebody's life. So thank you for that. Thank God for that, right? Because it's God working through Stephen. It's outstanding. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Really appreciate you watching. If you liked the video, do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up. That'll help us get out to more people. If you want to see more like it, subscribe. That will also help us get out to more people. That's a big part of growing this YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.